I watched a Roman army disappear in 3 hours, not on foreign soil. In our own Italy, beside a quiet lake wrapped in fog. If you had stood beside me that morning, you'd have sworn we were the hunters. By midday, we were the ones being cut down in the mist, trapped between a lake and the hills. I served as a legate under Consul Gaius Flaminius, and I stood on the shore of Lake Trasimene, the day Rome walked into Hannibal's trap. It was 217 BCE, deep in the war you call the Second Punic War. Hannibal had already beaten us at the Ticinus and the Trebia, and he had done the unthinkable. Dragged an army across the Alps into Italy. He didn't just fight soldiers. He burned our fields, our farms, our villages. Every column of smoke told our allies, Rome cannot save you. We marched to prove that message wrong. Flaminius was bold, impatient. We begged him to wait for the other consul, Servilius, so we could face Hannibal with 2 armies. He wouldn't. Every day we waited, more Italian land burned. So we drove on, following the smoke, until the trail led us to Lake Trasimene. The lake was quiet when we arrived. Too quiet. Mist rolled off the water, thick on the low ground, hiding the far shore. Our road ran along a narrow strip of flat land, lake on one side, steep wooded hills on the other. No room to spread out, no room to see. Later, we understood that to Hannibal, this was not a road. It was a noose. Scouts reported Carthaginian troops ahead, moving away from us. To many, it looked like a retreat. To Hannibal, it was bait. That night, some of us warned Flaminius. Bad ground, heavy fog, a clever enemy too close. He listened, then shook his head. Rome burns while we hesitate, he said. Before dawn, we broke camp and marched toward the lake. The air was cold and wet. Mist clung to our cloaks and helmets and swallowed sound. We moved in column along the shore, the unseen water to our right, dark hills to our left. The ground twisted and narrowed, and the column stretched out. Vanguard ahead, rear drifting back into the fog. From where I rode, I could barely see a few ranks in front. Orders had to be shouted again and again because the mist stole them. Scouts glimpsed movement ahead. Carthaginians still falling back. Men muttered that Hannibal finally feared us. My stomach said otherwise. We kept marching. It began with a sound. A roar rolled down from the hills. War cries in tongues I didn't know. Then horns. Not ours. Theirs. Shapes burst from the mist on our left. Iberian swordsmen, Libyan spearmen, Gauls with long blades and painted shields. At the same moment, more forces hit our front, blocking the road, and others smashed into our rear. We were hit from 3 sides at once. No space to form a line. No clear view of the enemy. Centurions shouted to face left, then right, then back. You heard commands, but rarely saw who gave them. Men tried to form shield walls, but each cohort saw only its own small patch of fog and steel. Above us, the Carthaginians could see over the mist and strike together. Below, we fought shadows. I saw Flaminius riding through the chaos, cloak dark with damp, shouting for the men to hold and form up. For a moment, a few knots of order formed. Then another wave hit them from behind. Near the shore, the track closed fully. Lake on one side, hills on the other. Enemy pouring down from above. Some units tried to push inland up the slopes, but the Carthaginians already held the high ground. Others tried to hold the road and were crushed where they stood. Where the line buckled, fear took over. Men who saw no way forward or back turned toward the water. I watched soldiers wade into the shallows, armor dragging at their limbs as they stumbled deeper. Carthaginian cavalry rode after them, horses splashing in the lake, cutting at heads and shoulders as men tried to swim. Some disappeared under the surface, pulled down by their own equipment. Higher up, small groups of Romans and allies stood in tight circles, fighting back to back. You heard them before you saw them. A ring of shields, then silence. Somewhere ahead, part of our vanguard, about 6,000 men, broke through the enemy blocking force at the front. They thought they were free, but in that fog, they couldn't see the whole field. Later, we heard they were surrounded by Hannibal's cavalry and forced to surrender. For those of us still trapped between lake and hills, the fighting burned itself out in a few brutal hours. They say the battle lasted about 3. On the ground, it felt like one long breaking instant. In the thick of it, I saw Flaminius one last time. His horse was gone. He fought on foot in the front ranks, voice raw from shouting. The enemy closed around him. Gauls with long swords, javelins arching through gray air. We tried to push toward him, but the crush of bodies and steel forced us back. Someone shouted that the consul had fallen. Some said a Gaul who knew his name struck him down. Others only saw him vanish under a wave of men. All I know is this: one moment he was there, the next he was gone. When that news spread, whatever structure we had left collapsed. Cohorts became clusters. Clusters became scattered men. There was no army anymore, just pockets of resistance being ground down. By late morning, the noise faded. The fog thinned, and the battlefield finally appeared. Bodies lay along the road, on the shore, up the slopes. Romans, Italians, allies, and enemies together. Our standards were down. Our formations were gone. An entire Roman army had ceased to exist. They say about 15,000 of our men died there, with most of the rest taken prisoner. Only small groups of us, those who slipped away or somehow broke out, found their way back to Rome with the news. Later, we heard that Hannibal tried to find Flaminius' body to give him an honorable burial, but never did. I remember it vividly, as if it just happened. Every night I sleep and close my eyes, I'm back on the battlefield. The fighting stops. The battle is over. The mist is lifting. The shouting has faded to groans and silence. Flaminius is dead. Most of the men I marched here with are lying on the ground or in chains. Word will already be riding toward Rome. But standing here, with the bodies still warm, reality sinks in. A Roman army has been destroyed. I don't know what Rome will learn from this. I only know what we went through. We walked into the fog, certain of our strength, ensured our own victory, and discovered our destiny had already been decided.